Hey everybody, this is Jazzmyn, and as many of you know, Hugh Hefner passed away this week. He was 91 years old, and everybody's got some mixed feelings on this because some people thought of him as a dog, and some people thought of him as a really respectful guy who made a difference in civil rights and actually put women into more of a power position. Because back in the day, if you were getting hired as a bunny, a cocktail waitress bunny, you were making your own money. You weren't in the kitchen having your husband make money and bring that home to give you an allowance to spend. So in a certain sense, he was offering independence. He was also responsible for triggering the sexual revolution. He was putting people of color on his TV show. So he was standing up for everybody's rights, whether you agreed with whether people should have those rights or not. Now, was he capitalizing off of women, and people enjoying a woman's naked body and so on? Well, yes, but then those women were making the choice to do that. Now, there's a little bit of an argument as to, were the women forced, coerced, what have you, to pose in Playboy? So I'm just going to tell you a story of my own. I never met him, but this is my experience, 2 degrees from him. When I was in college, I went to Seton Hall University, and it was a long time ago, and Playboy came to a bunch of college campuses trying to recruit a centerfold, a collegiate centerfold. And they were very interested in Seton Hall University because it was a good Catholic university. And they weren't allowed to come on to the university property to try and see if anyone wanted to be a centerfold. But right outside the gates, there were flyers. So I convinced 2 friends of mine and we cut English class because it was just when we could get the 3 of us together to go there within the time frame that you had to go audition. And we go to this motel, and it's all kind of shady looking, and I'm thinking, great, what did I just get us into? And we go in there, and it was the photographer. He had an assistant. There happened to be a reporter from one of the main newspapers in New Jersey. And so they took pictures of each of us. They asked us all these questions. My one friend, who was particularly perfect looking, she was the type that the camera loves and definitely had the kind of look that Playboy would like. And they were very interested in her. They were ready to sign her. They were ready to make her the one until they saw her driver's license. And they were insistent that we all had to present ID. They had to make sure it was the real thing. And she was 1 month away from being 18 years old. And the photographer said, no, I'm sorry, Mr. Hefner will not go for this. And of course, we're going, well, you're not going to be taking pictures of her as a centerfold for 6 months. What does it matter if you just wait the 1 month, and then after that, you've got her? And he says, no, you don't understand how strict Mr. Hefner is on this. He will not sign anybody under the age of 18. It doesn't matter if tomorrow she's turning 18. He said, today she's here. Today I took a Polaroid of her. He took the Polaroids, he destroyed them. It was very serious business. And I have to say, it gave me the impression that this was a no-nonsense business. There was nothing shady going on. That if you were there upon your own volition. If you were there, it was because you were also legal and allowed to be there, that this was very much a mutual experience, and that there was nothing you could do to convince them to do anything otherwise. And it was that moment that I gained a different respect for the man and his empire. It doesn't have to be the lifestyle I would want to do. I'm personally not interested in having orgies with everybody under the planet. But if that's someone's choice and they're, doing what they want to do with others who want to do the same thing, who am I to put them down? But I can say from that little experience, I definitely got the impression that nobody was being forced to do anything on Hugh Hefner's watch that they didn't want to do, and that they weren't legally not allowed to do. You know, they were allowed to legally do whatever it was they were participating in with him and or his company. So now you're asking, gee, what happened to you in all of this? Well, the end of the story was, of course, I never told my parents that I went there. But a few months later, when I came home, I was greeted with my mother screeching at me, "How could you cut English class and go try out for Playboy magazine?" Well, the guy who wrote the article, because I was dumb enough to give my name, he wrote a big article. My parents didn't receive that particular newspaper. I didn't think it was a big deal, but one of my mother's bridge friends did. So I was the talk of the bridge table. And that's my almost situation with Playboy magazine and my second degree of knowledge on Hugh Hefner. Rest in peace.